Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martin Franke, and I would like to welcome you to this live Your Alarm webinar on attracting and retaining talent. In September last year, we organized an internal meeting on this topic, followed by an international webinar as part of the European Fire Safety Week. And this one, we will focus on both attracting and retaining talents. Our industries, the fire safety and security industry, are facing a talent shortage. Many experienced professionals are retiring, and on the other hand, fewer young people are entering the fields. This is not only a challenge, but also an opportunity for our industry to attract and retain new talent, and an opportunity to find the best and the brightest talent from diverse backgrounds and perspectives. We believe that talent, that people, are our most valuable asset, and that is why we are committed to providing a rewarding and fulfilling career for our employees. And this webinar will focus on some of the initiatives and best practices that we have. For this afternoon, we have a number of speakers from the industry and from national associations who will highlight several aspects of talent acquisition and talent retainment. Tobias Loreth will dive into apprenticeships. They offer a unique combination of on-the-job training and classroom learning, allowing apprentices to gain practical skills and qualifications while earning a salary. It is in a great way to attract and develop talent in the fire safety and security industry. Next, Patrick van Liempt, the Belgian Security Association ALIA, will take you by the hand and lead you through their initiatives and support to talent programs. And I'm also pleased to have with us Andrew Collinson of Chubb, who will present the company's accelerated development program for getting and keeping talent on board. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to Your Alarm's General Director, Paul van der Zenden, who will briefly introduce our association before starting with the expert presentation. Paul, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Martin. I believe most of the people know Your Alarm and know what we do, but it's always good to take 1 or 2 minutes to go through the our organization. Martin, I got the sorry, the slide disappeared for some a few seconds. Our industry, our association is a leading association for the fire safety and the security industry in Europe. And because our industry has distinct solutions in different areas, we are also divided in separate sections, and you see them here represented on the screen. We have the fire section, which is mainly focusing on electric detection sensors, systems, control panels, evacuation panels. With the fire extinguishing section, that section is focusing on what the name says, on extinguishing. It includes all kinds of different extinguishing methods, except for sprinklers, because that is taken care of by a different European association. The third section is the service section, which focuses mainly on maintenance and alarm reporting. And last but not least, we have the security section, which addresses intrusion protection, but panic systems, access control, and also video surveillance. Fair to say that the intrusion and panic systems represent the most standardized product group in this section. Next slide, please, Martin. Outside the support we give to the single European market strategy, Your Alarm represents our industries with the European Commission, the European Parliament, and the European standard organizations. With the upcoming elections in June, it's very busy because the Parliament and the Commission try to finalize a lot of dossiers at this moment. So it's called peak time before we go into what they call the winter rest, the hibernation, because this first 6 months of the new legislation will be very quiet. We work together with our members, and we keep them informed on the ongoing European projects, including standardization developments. During the process of new legislation, we work as much as possible with all these stakeholders to ensure that regulations and directives are workable for us and that they don't put unnecessary burden on us. As already mentioned by Martin, all the upcoming changes will also mean a change in our industry. And to make this happen, we will need people. We will need skilled people, and we are not the only industry who's looking for skilled people, especially on the technical side. We still need hands in the field to do the work, as it's popularly said sometimes. And the day before yesterday, we were on a presentation from the Commission. It does not look to become better in the short term as it looks. But in this webinar, we will see a few of examples from our industry on initiatives which are taken, and we hope you can learn from that and for a part use that also when you're looking for talent, and share that also with other people. Martin, so for the introduction from Jolam, I would like to give the floor back to you.
I'll put on the mic, that makes it a little bit easier for you to understand. Thank you, Paul. As you have seen in Paul's last slide, Jolam is actively involved in ensuring a diverse, qualified and well-trained workforce. And that workforce is what we will now zoom into, starting with Tobias, who will guide you through the apprenticeship program of JCI. Tobias, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. My name is Tobias Loreth. I work for Johnson Controls in Germany. I'm the training program manager, and the main task for me is to set up an apprenticeship program. I worked for Johnson Controls about 3 years in May, and let's start. Next slide. First of all, I want to give you a general overview about the apprentice program in Germany. Next slide. On this map, you see Germany and a lot of bubbles, and all bubbles you see in the German map are locations from JCI in Germany. And you see here the different apprentice programs we do in the different locations. It's about 13 different apprenticeships and 9 in the technical way. And the problem at JCI is the same like you all have. We need young people and we have a lot of retirements. And my job is it to ramp up an apprentice program, because we have one problem, we all have one problem. If there's no people who do the job, we are in that way that we have no people who train our people. And that's something for the future that makes it not easier for us. And so for me, the job is to ramp up an apprentice program, and with internal training centers. We are building internal training centers with people who are 100% for the apprenticeship there. And this apprentice center starts in Ladenburg, that's at Mannheim, and the second training center is in Köln. And the idea from the training center is that we cover all things our people need in the practice, because we have one problem. Apprenticeship, the age of an apprentice is normal 16 to 17. There's no driver license, and our problem is who get the people to the business, because the business is not at the corner, the business is far away. It takes 1 to 2 hours, the simple way to get to the business. And the problem is that without the training center, we are looking for people who have the driver license, and the people are older, and it's a lot difficult to get the people. And so the idea from the training center is to cover the time up the people are 18 and get a driver license. And we don't restrict us with the one leg. That's the problem, and that's the idea of the training center. Yeah, on the next slide, you see the trainings in each year. In Germany, normally the training takes about 3.5, 4 years. And you see here the apprentice we have in each year. I start 3 years before, and you see in the 4th year and in the 3rd year, we have 9 to 16 trainees. And then in the 2nd year, we ramped it up about 54 trainees. And that's the thing. And that's the way we want to grow up. We need to scale up, and that's the way we are doing it. On the next slide, you see how we do it and what's the idea. You see a slide with a lot of information, but I thought I want to give you this information because we have training centers, like I said before, in Ladenburg and in Köln, but we also work together with other companies like Siemens, like Diehl, like Evonik, that are big companies, or ABB, that are big companies in Germany, and we use these companies to train the basic stuff, basic skills, electrician skills, mechanic skills, and then they come to our training center and we train the technique we need in the business, in the field. That's the idea about the trainee program. Yeah. On the next slide, you see this was a short introduction about the apprentice program in Germany. It's not so easy to understand. We are build it up. We are on the ramp up. We are like a small startup in a big concern. And the first problem and the biggest problem for me was to get the people. And that's the thing why we are here. And for me, the biggest question was, okay, your job is to ramp up an apprentice program, but nobody knows about JCI in this group, in this target group, and nobody knows about our stuff, our products, nothing. And that was the first question for me: how we get this apprentice program to the people. And on the next slide, you see my main topics. And I have 3 main topics. The first main topic is to increase the number of applications. Without an application, I don't need to improve a training or concept or coordination. I need increase the applications, and that's for me the red tag. I work in colors. Please, red is not bad. Red is only a tag for me. The second topic is for me to improve the trainings, concept, and coordination. And the third topic is for me to take over the trainees as professionals. And that's the blue corner. Yeah, in the fiscal year 32, for me, the main topic was to increase the number of applications, to do something, to increase these things. And in the fiscal year actual, I'm on this green button, improve the training, concept, and coordination. And in the next slide, you will see these buttons. Yeah. And the first thing we did is to implementate a social media channel. Social media channel. Here this is Instagram, and update our JCI homepage. And what was the idea of it? The idea of it is to close the black box, to let the people show what we are doing, and not what we are doing in some marketing slides with the real people. That's the idea, and that's the idea of our social media channel. If you scan this QR code, you come to our social media channel, and there you see the people. Yeah, we are telling stories of the people. Our apprentices are telling stuff about their life as an apprentice, life as an apprentice at JCI, and that's the thing. And that's the same idea with the homepage. You want to show how it works and how we work. Yeah. Then on the next slide, you see a lot of job fairs. That was a big other thing from us. We need to go outside, not stay in our house. We need to go. We need to make a connection to the schools, to national organizations, to show JCI, and not we alone go to this part of fairs. We go with the apprenticeships. We need the young people who say how it really works. And that's for me really cool to see how they grow. And yeah, it's a big key from us, a big thing to get applications. Yeah. On the next slide, you see another thing, and I think that would be a question for you. What is the implementation of a pre-boarding? I don't know anything about the pre-boarding, but we had some problem. The biggest problem from us is that we're not the only key player in this market. There are some other big fish and other companies. It's not like in the past, at my time, I had subscribed a contract, and that was hard. So let's start there. But in this day, that's not normal. The people can go to other companies. And we have the problem that the people go to other companies because the apprentice program starts at one day in 1 year, the same day. That's 1st September. And if we get a contract with them a year before, then they have a year to decide, because the signature under the contract is not like it was in the past. And so we implemented a pre-boarding. Pre-boarding is like onboarding, yeah. Pre is before, to show how the next steps are, to ask if there are any questions. That's the thing from the pre-boarding. That was a big thing that we implemented that. Yeah, pre-boarding means, hey, we are there, here, come to our company, get our clothes. That's the thing. That's the idea of it. On the next slide, you see then the big brother from the pre-boarding. That's the onboarding week. We find out that the onboarding week is the onboarding is very, very, very important. If you do a good onboarding with the young guys, and we did our onboarding with the new guys and the guys who are already at the apprenticeship, and that was the key. That was the key to get the drive, to get interactive groups, and that's one focus point from us, onboarding. Yeah. On the next slide, you see the other thing. And the other thing is digitalizations. And not to say digitalization is that we work with teams or something like that. We need to really digitalization the apprenticeship. And for us, we have trainings or a management learning system that the people have a tablet, and on a tablet they can learn, and they see anything they need in their daily business. We have trainings instructions from JCI. We are doing about the management learning system. We have an app, that's Simple Club. It's a big app in Germany to show how the theoretical basics work. And on the other side, we have a digital report booklet and operations planner. So we are digital. The people at JCI or the apprenticeship, they have your handy and an app on your handy, and you open it, and then they have everything. That's the idea of it. Yeah, and that's a big key. So you get and reach them. That's the other problem. They are on the business side. It's not so easy to get them, and so we have them in your pocket. Yeah. And on the next slide, and that's my last slide, is one of the important thing for me. I always was asking me if there is for the apprenticeship something like a ISO certification. Some partner who looks if the apprenticeship is good, what is not so good. And in Germany, we have the certification Best Place to Learn. That's a certification from an external company where the internal apprenticeships, the apprenticeships who are already ready, and the trainers intern can check up what's good, what's not so good. And if we are good, we get the certification, and we are a certification to be a best place to learn. And so we can show it to extend that we are good. And that's the idea. Okay, that was it from me.
Okay, thank you, Tobias. I remember being an apprentice during my study quite some years ago. And I must say that I'm a little bit jealous of how things are organized today. Great work, I think.
Thank you.
Next on our webinar is Patrick van Liempt. Patrick is of ALIA Security, the Belgian Security Association. Patrick, may I invite you to the virtual presentation floor.
Of course. Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you for the presentation. ALIA Security is, like you told, the Belgium Association of the Electronic Security Industry, grouping the members, installers in camera systems, alarm systems, fire system, access controls, and also the distributors in security products. I will speak about the role of an association, and I'll also briefly explain the Belgium regulation, because it's quite unique, and it speaks a lot also about the education of the technicians and the people. And then, of course, how can you attract people to your company, and how to retain the talent, and what are our initiatives. Next, please. So, what is the role of a national association in general? Of course, it join all the installers, join his members, because together we are strong and representative to the stakeholders and to the federal government. We can group our efforts, we can communicate with our members, installers, inform them, but also listen to them. What are their concerns? What are their questions? What can we improve? And how we can communicate, of course, by newsletters, briefly newsletters, because they don't have time to read a lot. Webinars like this one is easier, is trendy now. We invite our members to follow, like here also, the webinars of EuroAlarm. Lucky of all, they are also recorded, so they can always listen them afterwards at another time, later on the day when they have more time. And we organize also installer events, because it's important not only to one-way information to discuss, but also to join together, to have a debate together. We organize smaller installer events, round tables to discuss about some topics, to have feedback from the installers. And then our annual big event, the ALIA Security Day, where we invite not only the installers, the members, but also the stakeholders of the security industry to communicate with them. Again, a good moment to come out, to have some networking with colleagues, with the stakeholders. And an important part of the association, of course, is defending the interests of our security industry to the federal government. Next, please. Thank you. So we have to inform our installers. They don't have so much time. We try to filter the information, what's important to them, about legislation, about general advice, about the techniques, about the certifications. Legislation important to remember them about what to do and what they can't do, to avoid sanctions or convictions of the federal government. We are also aware of the importance of the European legislation. Together with EuroAlarm, we work in the technical groups, and we will inform our members on what's the evolution, on normalization of the products, on AI Act, the Data Act, privacy rules, things important for our business. And we are very glad to work together with EuroAlarm on that. So we try to answer their questions, their worries, and we are the intermediary between the installers and the decision makers. Thank you. Next. Just briefly about the Belgian legislation, because it's quite unique, and we got some improvements therein, and also a lot of educational systems. So first of all, every company who is installing alarm systems or camera systems has to be authorized by the federal government. This legislation started in 1989 by our former minister Tobias. That's why we called it the Tobias Law. And the purpose was to improve quality and services of the private security, not only in electronic security systems, but also in the physical guarding. There were a lot of cowboy companies, unprofessional people, and they want also to limit the reduction of the unnecessary alarms. I don't like to use the word false alarms because it has a wrong connotation, and to call less the police services. So every person working in the security business needs this authorization also from the federal government, and an authorization as a manager or as a person responsible for the concept of the systems, the risk analysis, the quotations, and then of course a technician for installing and maintenance. All those people will have to follow an education according to their function, and every 5 years, there is again an audit of the company, and the people have to follow on-site reservice. This is for the Belgian legislation, which is mandatory, but we have also additional voluntary certifications like INCERT, which is an intrusion certificate for alarm systems and camera systems, and the BOSEC certification for fire system. Thank you, Martin. So we need education. It's mandatory in Belgium, but even for other companies. First of all, for the school-going young people, after secondary education, there is a possibility of a specialization year, a 7th year, like they tell us, where they can get the certificate as installer and maintenance for alarm systems. But all other people, people who are coming later into the business, has to follow a mandatory education from the government. There are 3 modules, each time 45 hours for each specialization. And after 5 years, they have to follow a 12 years in service training. Thank you. Where can you follow these educations? There are the official instance, like a workplace study. This is a system of in-school training and working in a company. The VDAB or FORM for the French part of the country is an employment and vocational training services. IBO is also a system where you can start to work and have also additional training. And the Sintra or EFIPMA is the adult vocational training. So for people after work, they can follow those 45 hours of additional training. CVO is also a part of it. But there is also a major part of private schools in security companies, in big security companies, like by Tobias, GCI organizes his educations, and those security companies are accredited by the federal government to give the mandatory education and the certificate for those for the job. Next, please. But how can we attract now those talents? How can we find the people? We know that like Tobias said, the market is poor, or like we also say, the pool is empty. There is no fish anymore in the pool. So we have to try to find, to attract new people. We can first start to make the job as attractive possible. get a positive image of the job, speak about it. The job is cool. It's not anymore just putting cables and hanging sensors on the walls and that's it. No, it's getting more sophisticated. It's network connections, software programming, remote services. So it's getting more attractive to the people. The job has changed. Also, we can put the accent on the social contact. People like to meet other people. You work in a team, but you work also on different sides. You have contact with the customers. You have to teach the people, train the people on their system. So this make it the more diversity in your job. And most of all, we also know that our security business, unfortunately, doesn't stop at 5 o'clock. It's 24 hours by 24 hours, also in the weekends, for people having a technical problem on their system, and the technician has to be standby. Due to the evolution, the good evolution of the possibility of the remote services, they can solve a lot of problems remotely. It's not necessary to jump into the car and get 2 hours at night to maybe reset just a smoke sensor. So this is a big advantage in our evolution of our job. Next, Martin. And the second most important part for you installer peoples, make your company attractive. It's well known that people who are looking for a job spend a lot of time in investigating your company. They ask themselves the questions, do I want to work in that company? Not anymore, can I work in that company? No. Do I really want to work in that company? They are going to choose. So it's important. Speak a lot about your company on your website, on your social media, and not how good you are. No, how attractive you are. What are you doing? Not only the big jobs you realized, but the people who are working in your company, the technicians. Who is the manager? Is it an old guy like me, or is it a young, dynamic company with a young guy? This makes it attractive. They are going to spend a lot of time to check all this information. How do the other people? You can put also maybe a testimonial of one of the technicians on the website of on the social media. But this makes the job attractive for those people. Second time, also make the way from candidate to your company as short as possible. Of course, try to search around the church, like they say. Visit the local schools in your area, the technical schools, go to present your company, invite them to maybe organize a Wednesday afternoon or a Saturday morning or at 4 o'clock at the end of the school to visit your company. So they already have made the first step to your company. Invite them. You have big companies and you have small companies. Big companies, big name, well organized. Some people are more attracted to the big companies because it's structured. But small companies is a more feeling at home, a more social contact. Like they say, small is beautiful, more flexible. Depending on the person, what he's looking for, he will rather choose for a big or a small company. But most of all, I reconfirm, most important thing is having a good feeling and a good work-life balance. This is now the most important thing. They look to it, more important than the salary or the car they are going to get, the work-life balance. They consider it as a very important factor to choose your company to come to work. So give them the right information. Next, please. So as a summary, how can we do that, and how can also the association help the members to do that? we are going to promote the job in the schools. And this as early as possible to in the educational trajectory to make the job interesting before they have made a choice. It's right that the technical jobs are not so much chosen anymore. They all want to do high studies and they don't appreciate, they appreciate less the technical jobs. So we have to say them how nice a technical job is, how secure a job. You have always job in this area to choose that. We are trying also to promote a job on security fairs by inviting the schools, maybe organizing a workshop for those students. And we know that the exposants at the fair, they don't like so much the coming of the schools. They see it more as a day off for the students and free drinks and free gifts maybe. But those students are the future installers, are the future managers of a security company, and they will be later on maybe your customer. So that's why we convince them, give some time to them and show them what is the job. Promote a job on social media, and depending on which category we're searching, Meta and Instagram for the young people and LinkedIn for us adults. And like I told, a testimonial of technicians on your website or on social media can be interesting and attractive. Next, please. So ALIA Security, we inform our members. We trying to give advice by newsletters or also on the webinars like this one. And we organize, like I told, the yearly ALIA Security Day, a congress for the security, where we have a seminar inviting different speakers on different subjects like cybercriminality, AI, management, law and audits, the quality certificates, the evolution of the normalization, and of course, news from Euralarm. We have also our yearly security fair, New Security, where every 2 years we have also our security day, and we invite the schools to visit this security fair to show them the business, to try to attract them to our business. And therefore, our intention is also then to organize next year on our New Security, a specific security day moment for the students and the school, where we concentrate on their job, on to show the job, to tell them how attractive it is, what they do, what they learn, and maybe with some testimonials of technicians and so on. Next, please. Last year we had a trial, a local test together with the VDAB, our Flemish Employment and Vocational Training Service, to organize an intake of unemployed people with a message, maybe the job of security technician suits you. So the idea was, because we don't find skilled people in a regular way, to search in some new domains of people with other skills, talent, and to attract them to a new job combined with also educational training, of course, to get to those new job. So how did we do that? The VDAB first made a selection, invited the people looking for a job, and we gave them a presentation of the job, what is regarding the job. And there were also several local security companies invited, again local, to have the distance between candidate and company as short as possible. And those local companies, they were in the room, and those people, those candidates, could have a talk with the different companies. They had to speak at least with 3 companies to receive a free cinema ticket. You have to give them a teaser, and then with the meaning to get a contract with those security companies, an IBO contract, so a combined working and short training sessions. During those IBO contract, they are paid by the VDAB, by the unemployment service, and they get short training sessions specifically for our job. Unfortunately, it didn't have the success we hoped for. It didn't succeed. And main of all, lack of motivation by the candidates. So it's really important to have people who are motivated to do that job. They were a little bit forced to it, maybe. So the employment services is not the right source to find the candidates, unfortunately. But we continue working on that, hoping to find a way to find our new talent. Last slide, please. So let's not despair. It will require the necessary effort to find the right people. You will have to actively seek candidates and recommend your company. A nice looking ad with enchanting advantages will not be enough to have people getting you in contact to find a job. And don't forget, once you have a new employee, you have to retain him. Think about coaching, training, and once in a while complimenting on his job makes wonderful things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Next on our program is Andrew Collinson, who is involved in the Chubb Accelerated Development Program. We managed to get him to talk a bit more about this program during this webinar. And Andrew, may I hand over the virtual microphone to you.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you to Tobias and Patrick as well. Some very insightful commentary there. So I've got some ideas to take away. Thank you. So my name is Andrew Collinson. My role is as the Operations Director for Chubb Fire and Security. I look after the fire detection and alarm and the electronic security elements of our business. Chubb in the UK is about 2,500 people strong, and my role is to make sure we deliver in the field correctly. So I'm going to talk about our accelerated development program and how that came about. I'm going to follow that up with some context around how the program was incepted and how it was delivered, and then the successes that's brought. So next slide, please, Martin. So why do the need arise? Like many other organisations within our business, we see an ageing workforce, and in fact, a Service Council study in 2017 showcased that 70% of field services organisations reported potential depletion of their workforce due to retirement in less than 5 years. That puts us fair and square right in the middle of that now. So I think many of the businesses in our sector are seeing that retirement happening. And as the other speakers have said, the new talent isn't coming forward. We can compound this with field service being a growing sector. New technology, new devices, new industries all drive new opportunity for people to change careers and move into the worlds of cybersecurity and all of that kind of thing bleeds into the sectors that we've naturally called our own for many years. Additionally, that technology helps the transfer of skills. So whereas engineers would be an engineer in a certain sector for their entire career, now you could be fixing photocopiers one week and coffee machines the next week because the skill sets are very different now. We in the UK certainly find that there's a very competitive recruitment sector also. So the recruiters who work in our marketplace are actively targeting engineers because they know that the pool is very small and market conditions where the salaries are increasing for people who are willing to transfer across really mean that some candidates are chasing the extra pounds and the extra euros in their salary at the end of the month. So that's certainly an important factor as well. We as Chubb have operated two sectors really for our recruitment. Obviously, the experienced hires, people from within the sector. We are always on the lookout for those candidates, as many of my colleagues will also share. And our apprentice program historically has been very mature and very robust. But that section in the centre, we haven't really attested to at all. We haven't attacked that sector, and that's something that the Accelerated Development Programme sought to do. Martin, if you could just bump that on a couple of clicks for me, because those two areas haven't populated correctly. And a little bit more. Thank you. Perfect. So as you can see, with the experienced hires, they come with industry experience and product experience, and they're instantly able to impact and bring revenue to your business. But often we find they come with legacy bad habits and they're institutionalized to a previous business, and they find it difficult to transfer to the ethos of a new company sometimes. At the other end of the scale, where careers are begun in the apprenticeship, they come with a really enthusiastic early careers pizzazz and vigor to get involved. And they've got young minds and they're quick to take on the knowledge. And from a Chubb point of view, we get government levy support for taking on apprenticeships. But often they have that first job syndrome where it's something that they feel like they have to do. The training period is long. So as Tobias mentioned with JCI, we have a 3 to 4 year apprenticeship program as well. All of that time we're investing in the individuals and not seeing a return. And then we have the risk of loss when they finish that program, or if they don't make the grade during that time. Where we benefit from sector transferees, people who want to move into our sector from other areas, they come with life experience. They know what a day's work looks and feels like. It's not new to them. And there's a large motivated talent pool out there if you care to look for it. They often come with loyalty and commitment, but automatically they're moldable and shapeable because they want to make that change. So they're keen to learn those new skills. On the negative side, the costs are borne by us in that regard, and we need to support them a little bit more than we would naturally because they're very new to our sector and don't understand the world of work that we operate within. So we've got to coax them into that a little bit more. Next slide, Martin. Thank you. So key to this for us was our partner selection and marketing, making sure that the Chubb business was showcased as a really, really strong business. So we opted to choose 3 companies to speak to regarding this. All 3 of them work within our sector, and all 3 of them have specialisms around fire and security. But we chose Zitco as our partner purely because their presentation of their solution was a lot more in line with what we wanted. We really wanted to showcase the Chubb business. We're a 205-year-old business, so we have some heritage. We have some ability to showcase that we are here for a long time. We're a place where a long-term career can be built. But we're also part of a new company. We're part of API, an American business, and they have a building great leaders concept where they see everybody from the managing director to the engineer to the guy who cleans the offices. Everyone who works for our business is a leader, and we really want to focus our people on leading, whether that be in a team or leading themselves. We felt it was important to highlight the career opportunity, significant earning potential in our sector, and certainly stability, because the industry isn't going to go anywhere. It's a very solid industry, but we really wanted to make sure that all of the people who came and looked at Chubb as a place to work had all the answers to the potential questions that they would ask. So when people were looking at Chubb, we had a dedicated page where they could look at the Accelerated Development Programme. They could also find information about what we do, how many employees we have, our turnover, and the things that are more important to them, the things that we do to encourage them to have a good work-life balance, the things we do to support them while they're here in terms of their wellness and their mental health, plus the sort of the more tangible benefits like the company vehicle and the tools and the uniform and the quality of equipment we provide. The goal was really to seek out people who want to transfer from complementary sectors into ours, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but we did a really, really good job in doing that. Next slide, please, Martin. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the structure here. So we called it the Accelerated Development Programme because we develop our people all the time anyway. but it tends to be at their pace. So apprentices, as you can see, we do over 4 years. The experienced hires come to us with various degrees of knowledge, and we can amend that or adopt that or tweak that a little bit. But this was people who had absolutely no concept of what Chubb did and no experience in our sector. And we had to bring them from that ab initio zero knowledge position up to a position where they could add value to our business within an 18-week program. We developed that program in conjunction with a number of training providers, some of whom we use for our apprenticeship program. And we decided on the fact that 18 weeks was a good operational length of time to train them. And it gave us some ability to extend that if needed to be, and keep that within a 2-quarter parameter. We ran both fire and security streams, and we aimed it at candidates with prior work experience. So we weren't interested in school leavers or college leavers or people who were transferring from other apprenticeship programs. We were looking for experience of the world of work. What we didn't do was stipulate what that area could be. So we attracted people who'd worked in the automotive sector, who'd worked in social housing, who'd worked in lifts and elevators, who'd been electricians, lots and lots of diverse sectors which have some transferable skills for us. The delivery element was handled by our internal training teams at Chubb, both formal training, so in classroom work, and training in the field with the engineers, but also with third-party specialist training providers who have skills in health and safety, who have skills in particular alarm conventions within the UK. And we issued a recognised qualification off the back of this. So everybody who passed out from one of our courses gained a BTEC qualification, which is a UK qualification at level 3. So if they wanted to move from Chubb in the future, they had that qualification to take with them. The training was theoretical, practical and experiential. So first of all, there was classroom elements to showcase the theory behind what they were learning. We then got them to practice that live in controlled environments. And then there was some experiential training where they could take that into the field with their mentor and apply some of that training to learn hands-on on the job. It was a 10, 20, 70% kind of agreement. So that 10% was in the classroom, 10% theoretical, 20% in the classroom, 70% experiential. And it was a very, very comprehensive syllabus, both inside and outside of that classroom. The goal for me was to build a team as well. So as well as when the group were together on their practical and theoretical programs, they stayed together in the same accommodation. They worked together on homework, if you like, outside of the normal classroom, and they relied on each other to help and support their way through that program. So when somebody was struggling, somebody else would help them. If that person was then struggling themselves, another colleague would then assist them, and they got a real team-built spirit and a team ethos, which was fantastic to see from my point of view. The role that we took them on for was a full-time position with Chubb. There was no going through an employment agency or through a particular scheme. They came on and joined Chubb full-time, which was very, very attractive. That comes with salary, it comes with benefits, it comes with pensions, it comes with holiday, and it's fully funded by us. Very, very attractive for career changes. They see that as a really strong investment, so I would advocate that strongly. We made sure we got buy-in from our teams nationally as well. So I shared this with all of my colleagues around the country. All of the general managers who run our regions were bought into this. They knew they were getting these candidates and they knew what we would do to deliver the right quality. But we made sure we tracked that through weekly assessments and comprehensive reviews of all the individuals. And that was a formalised process we put into place. So we spent a lot of time detailing this to make sure that the end result was a really strong one. Next slide, Martin. I've highlighted some key deliverables here. We've spent a lot of time talking about what we wanted to do, and I'm just going to pick out a few. So if you can push the next slide, Martin, it should change some of these shapes in colour. Perfect. So qualified was key. Obviously, we can't send our people out without them being qualified to do the work. That bleeds neatly into competency and integrated into the Chubb business. So we had to make sure that they were the right calibre of people for Chubb and they understand what Chubb stood for, our mission and our values. We made that a part and parcel of the curriculum. Absolutely critical to everything. Day one critical is safety. We made sure that all of the people who worked with us had adequate safety training on day one. They spent the first week with our safety partner learning about health and safety, a significant investment from us. The goal was that they came out of this self-aware, understanding their limitations and what they are capable of, but also really customer focused. Customers are our lifeblood, as we've all talked about, and we really wanted to make sure that the next generation of employees came out with a really strong customer service skill set. Next slide, Martin. I was also very aware that I had to limit what I was telling my colleagues because I can't promise them the earth and deliver nothing. So again, we made sure that everybody who was part and parcel of the program and subscribing to it understood the limitations. So again, if you could tap that, Martin, I'll pick out a couple of issues where we changed colour. We had 18 weeks, so I can't teach these people experience. I can't give them legacy knowledge and multi-panel understanding, and I can't make them super fast. They may not be as productive as the other engineers, but they definitely won't come with industry baggage because we will teach them in the way they should be taught. They won't come with bad habits because we will make sure that those bad habits are eradicated from day one. So we had a really strong controlled environment. You'll see on the other side of this that I've put, I can't supply it without help and support of my peers, and I can't work miracles. So it was really important that we rationalised this programme and allowed everyone to understand it did have limitations, which I think we did quite well. Next slide, please, Martin. So this is just a very short example of the delivery time frame, and as you can see, from marketing the concept to the recruit starting was about 5 months, 4.5, 5 months through the offering and onboarding process. They were on the course for 18 weeks, and then they were transferred into operational hubs. So for the final quarter of the year, they went live in their regions, and we supervised them while they were live in their regions. So they were working for their management team locally, within the local geography, but we centrally supervised what they were doing as well, just to make sure that there were no red flags and that they were managing and coping, and they were able to understand the expectations on them. So that's just for your reference to kind of showcase if you're planning on doing something similar with your own teams, that's what that might look like. Next slide, please, Martin. One of the keys to this, and both of my colleagues, Patrick and Tobias, have mentioned the onboarding and beyond is critically important. These people do spend a lot of time researching the company and what the program of work can do for them, because it's a really important decision to change career. It's a life-changing decision in many occasions. So our goal was to make sure we did what we said we would do, and that we gave these guys and girls every opportunity to be successful by giving them the tools and equipment they needed, both figuratively and practically at the front end of the program. So right on day one, they were all issued with a van, a company vehicle, and a fuel card so they could buy diesel for that van. They were given a laptop and an iPhone, a mobile phone, uniform, boots and PPE, and then a full set of tools and equipment to include hand tools, drills, all the meters that they would require, all of the equipment that's going to make them safe. Giving them that on day one really showcased that we were keen to invest in their future. We also booked them into a hotel for the first 2 weeks to make sure that they were with us and comfortable. We held a meet and greet event on the first evening, so we all went out for a meal just to talk to each other a little bit outside of the work environment, to understand background, where people are strong, where people might be weak. And then we gave them some really detailed induction training about what Chubb is. Things like ID badges are really important. A badge with a photo on that says you're a Chubb employee, that's your employee number, is something tangible that they can then say, do you know what? I feel part of a team. I feel part of a movement. Health and safety training is really important as well, as I've already mentioned. And then we gave them access to a Candidate Works portfolio via that laptop, so they could add photographs of the work they've done to build themselves a portfolio to take into the next phases of their career. And we made sure that all of that worked seamlessly when we started. So when they turned on their laptop, it welcomed them through the right screen. They had all their login details. They could view their emails, and we could all email them on day one to say, welcome to Chubb. It was a really important part of the process, and it secured a lot of buy-in from these individuals. Next slide, Martin. So as the program moved on, we offered lots and lots of support to them. So as you can see, top and bottom of that in the green and orange are the training partner and the in-program buddy. So the training partner was the technical team from Chubb or the third-party provider, and they were the ones responsible for the ongoing support day to day and the assessment process. At the bottom of that, the in-program buddy was another of the candidates on that scheme. So each of the candidates buddied up with another one who would support each other, and that really helped with that group mentality. On the right-hand side, we had the regional management and the mentoring engineer, the purple cells that you see there, and they were responsible for developing them in the ways of Chubb and teaching them the practicalities of being a field technician. And then right to the left-hand side, myself and our early careers manager spent a lot of time looking at these guys, making sure they were supported correctly, giving the right advice and guidance. And I took oversight of the program to make sure that we were doing things as we said we would. Obviously, this had to be paid for. We made a financial commitment, and I had to make sure that we managed the purse strings accordingly. Next slide, Martin. So in terms of success, we've run this 3 times now. The first cohort, as you can see there, was a fire cohort. We recruited 9 individuals. And 8 completed the program successfully. And of the 8 who completed the program, we've managed to retain all of them. They're all still working for Chubb and adding value to our business. Cohort 2 was a slightly bigger cohort. We were a little bit more confident that we could deliver to a bigger group, so we took a bigger group on. But we lost 2 through the program. So we maintained the 11 successful completions of the program, but since then we've lost 2. One of whom has gone back to his prior employer, and one has moved to another company within our sector. The third cohort was a security cohort, and this has been a little bit less successful, and there's no secret recipe as to why it's been a little bit successful. We just haven't managed to retain the staff as well. So as you can see, from 8 individuals who started the program, only 6 completed, and a further 3 of that 6 have moved on to other careers within other businesses. So a little bit more disappointing from that point of view, but we've taken 28 candidates there and we've managed to retain 20. So not a bad hit rate, I wouldn't have said, for this sort of program. What I will say, and back to the marketing right at the front end, we did a very, very good job of marketing. Both Chubb and our partner worked hard to do a lot of the work that's already been discussed. So making sure that we were active on social media and that our adverts were in the right places. We got over 3,400 applicants across the 3 cohorts. The first cohort generated 1,400 applicants, so a really, really great uptake there. But we were very, very keen to make sure we chose the best of the best candidates. So the program to take them from that initial application to a place on the course was very vigorous. It was a 5-stage process, and we did that deliberately because we wanted to make sure that the candidates who were joining us really, really wanted to work with Chubb because it was a significant investment on our part. But since then, over £7 million, €7.5 million have been billed by the ADP candidates through our books. So it clearly pays for itself very quickly as a turn through. I'm very lucky that I'm going to meet all of the graduates on Tuesday of next week. We have our graduation ceremony, our first one, where the ADP candidates have been invited. So I'm going to meet them all again and get to see and talk about their progress. But regularly, as part and parcel of our productivity measures, I review what all our engineers are doing day to day, and I regularly see ADP candidates in our top 20 engineers nationally across both fire and security streams. So it's great, quite heartening, and it makes me proud to say that we've brought some brilliant people into our sector. That concludes my presentation, and I think Martin will step to questions now.
I'll put on the microphone again. Thank you, Andrew. What an interesting and well-organized way of working towards talent nurturing, if I may put it that way. Thanks to all the presenters this afternoon, prior and during this webinar. I received some questions from people. Let me go through them one by one. First, Patrick. You mentioned that not all the activities were as successful as you had hoped. Could you tell us what associations or companies could do to avoid that their initiatives are not successful? What is the secret ingredient for success?
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, well, when I see the presentation of Andrew and Tobias, I see it asks a lot of effort and a lot of motivation to the people, coaching, and follow up to do that. So I think maybe it was also for us, okay, it was a learning process. We saw about it what we have to do, and have really a good follow-up and motivation of the people. Search for the good candidates, and then when you have them, really follow up and coach them.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Andrew, you presented a very well-organized way of developing new talent for your organization. Could you tell us perhaps a little bit more on the activities once people are on board? How do you make sure that your talent stays at your company?
In terms of making sure that they stay, as I mentioned in the presentation, it's making sure we do what we say we will do. So when you create an advert that draws people in, you sort of make some promises, you make some commitments as your business. And we want to make sure that we do that. So we talked in the advert that you will get a professional level qualification, and we made sure that everybody who attended the courses and who passed those courses left with that professional level qualification. That means that if they want to seek their career outside of Chubb, they've got that piece of paper, that qualification that says, I can learn to this standard within this sector. But keeping them is about much more than that. It's about making sure that they feel part of a team. Patrick mentioned earlier that there's certainly an interaction element with customers and within a team in a region or a geography. But engineers essentially work on their own. It's important that they know that support is there for them. So we made a real point of keeping our contact really strong. So we made sure that there were team meetings for the ADP candidates every week so they could share their experiences. We made sure that the team leaders were checking in with them regularly and making sure that they were supported fully. Our partner Zitco, who did the recruitment for us, did very much the same. They had a little WhatsApp group set up so they could exchange messages, and it's all of that sort of brief touch point contact that really helps them stay and feel like they're close to something, feel like they're part of something bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Tobias, prior to our webinar, I visit your Instagram page, of course, of the apprenticeship program. What I like is the many personal stories that are presented. Do you have some tips and tricks for our audience? What should they do? What should they definitely not do?
Let me think about the answer. Yeah, in my opinion, you need to do what you want to do in a fair way. Yeah, stay authentic, say what you are doing, talk about everything. Yeah, that's the way. Also, not only talk about the good things, talk about the things that not work. I want to give them a really introduction and about our apprenticeship. So, and that's the idea of it, and that works. Easy.
Yeah.
Normal way. Yeah.
There's one more question on the presentations from larger companies, corporate companies like JCI and Chubb. The question is there also a role for smaller companies as well? Patrick, may I pass that one to you, since you represent as an association also smaller companies? Is it something, a copy-paste kind of thing, that what the larger companies do that smaller companies can also do, or is there something else?
Well, it's right, like I say, there is a difference between the big companies which have more renommee. They attract more people because they know the name already. They have more possibilities, more power, and more money in company to organize those kind of systems, and more people, because to organize a training program you need enough candidates also. That's why that's the rule then of the association, because most of our members are, like you say, are small companies. And we try to help them on a smaller scale. they can't organize training programs or like that. But yes, with small things they can help, but it take effort. That's what I want to say. They will not come on an advertising that you're looking for people. You have to go to them, to search them, and attract them to your company. And there you have for the official schools where you can make contact to the schools to ask them to have contact or to ask the names. It's not always easy for smaller companies.
Okay. And Andrew, you mentioned that the ADP also supports diversity. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, since many of us are also involved in that topic, or is that off topic?
No, it's absolutely. Again, I think all of us on the call today are very aware that the fire and security tends to be a male-dominated industry. And we tried very hard to make the ADP program open to anybody. And in fact, we managed to recruit 2 female engineers, both of whom we've retained during that time. So really exciting to get those individuals in place. What I will say also, that Chubb does a really good job of diversity and inclusivity, and we have a team significantly focused on delivering that across our business. In fact, many of our senior leaders within Chubb, people in my boss's chair, for example, are female leaders. So it's really exciting that we have that diversity in Chubb. But we really try to work across the various sectors. As I said earlier, we attracted electricians, we attracted lift engineers, and that diversity of career brings diversity of experience as well, and maybe a new perspective. They may have come from areas and industries where there's significantly more diversity than there is in the fire and security sector. So they bring that unique perspective, and that helps transfer onto their colleagues as well. Yeah. So yeah, lots of opportunity to improve that still, but we've made a good start.
Okay, Tobias, the last one for you. I noticed that your presentation is mainly focused on activities in Germany. Is it something that is done in other countries as well? And is it as successful as it is in Germany? In other words, is it something that can be replicated easily?
In my opinion, yes. Yeah, the main focus is Germany, but the main topics, like to go to schools, to connect you, to show how you work, it's also in other countries. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's the questions that I received. I don't know if there's from the participants any more questions for the speakers. If so, you can open your mic and ask the questions. If not, I have to look at Paul, because I noticed that he also asked for people to give in the chat some.
No other questions came in. I got 2, but you already covered them, Mark. So
Okay. Well, with that, our webinar is coming to an end. I would like to thank our presenters, of course, and for you, audience, being here. I hope that you got some useful insights, and I would like to invite you to follow our website and LinkedIn page for other webinars. If you want to look back, or if you have a colleague for whom you think this webinar might be of interest, there's good news. As of Monday next week, this webinar will also be online. Feel free to visit our website or share it with your colleagues. And with that, I would like to thank you for being here, and hope to see you again next time during one of the Your Alarm webinars. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.